Welcome to my show. My name is Marcell Johnson, and this is the VENMO Experience. Man, welcome back to the VENMO Experience. Thank you so much for tuning in. I ask that you would like, comment, and subscribe to this video. First and foremost, I just want to thank everybody who's been viewing these videos, who's been just transforming, who's been, giving me all the feedback. I just want to tell you I love you sincerely, and I'm so thankful to be doing this journey with you. So share this video with your peoples, like, comment, subscribe. But I got to tell y'all, man, somebody who is so special to me is on the show today, and I'm excited for y'all to just get to know her. She's going to do incredible things, and God has so much in store for her life. But her name is Emonie Campbell. What's up, Monty?
Hey.
Man, first of all, thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you for being a part of it.
Thank you.
Yeah, like,
I know
I know, right? Ain't that crazy how God works?
Big. Yeah.
Thank you, man. But I've been talking to her for like so many years about the different things that God is going to do. So she's able to see the manifestation of it. So she's somebody who's important to me because she's almost a promise reminder of what God told me. So I'm so thankful for her. But I want to introduce her correctly. Y'all ready? So she's a henna drawing artist. That's dope. Show them real fast. Hey, let's go. Okay, she's a leader of the youth, an encourager, an advocate of mental health, and then a healthcare provider. So you got some experience, but all of those things have to do with helping other people.
Yeah. That's
dope. So that right there shows us like your heart, how you really are passionate about helping other people. Was that always something you did? I know you got a little brother and a little sister.
Yeah.
So you're always nurturing but where did that heart and that compassionate just vibe come from?
Honestly, like, my family's just big on like always just helping other people, whether it was my mom, like always seeing her, go an extra mile for other people, or, like I just kind of grew up around it. And it's also in the culture too, especially like,
Facts.
Family's everything too. And like, with God, everybody's our family, so that just expanded it to a whole different horizon.
But everybody sometimes, even when you're of God, and truly the more you do get to know God, the more friendly and loving you become. Mm-hmm. But some people are like shut off. Mm-hmm. But you have a way of connecting with people and being so personable. I tell you that I think it's your humility. Mm-hmm. But what do you think it is?
Honestly, it's just the fact that like everybody goes through things, and to say that I didn't, and to try to hide it, it's like I'm giving you something that's false. I'm giving you false advertisement.
Wow.
Okay, this is what it really is. It's not that pretty and it's not that perfect, but it's ours and it's God's gems, no matter what stages it is, So who am I to hold back God's gems, Whether it's, looks good for me or not, like, it's still His. And if He calls me to share it, I share it.
Wow. I know me and you talked about, we had a personal conversation recently, and you were telling me just different things that is really about being transparent. And you said a lot of people hold back their honesty, but really they're kind of like stifling sharing God's gems.
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
I mean by like, mostly like, so, for example, like Instagram. Okay, we're going to do Instagram.
Yeah, let's go to Instagram. Okay.
Instagram, you see everybody posting. You see them posting the good things. You see them post like 2 seconds of this is where I was. And then all of a sudden they have this layout of how to get the new lifestyle. And they don't show the in-betweens. And they really lead people astray. And it's just like when we have that relationship with God, it's just like, I think it's important to always share those parts that aren't so pretty, and like, to be honest about mental health, and to be honest about, like the real things that are going on behind the scenes, the in-betweens, because those are things that could really stop you from getting where you're supposed to go. But if you're led astray and you're thinking it's just that easy, like people really like, you'd be like, you were this one day and you're this the next day, and it's just like, and it's just like, so I mean, that's essentially what I'm talking about.
I love that so much because like, I don't really well, I can consider myself an influencer. I influence a lot of people, but you're an influencer too. And we were having a deep conversation. This is off what I had for us to talk about too, but this is just God. Like, we were talking about how me as an influencer, even her as an influencer, we're going to kind of change the narrative and how people influence. Because as an influencer, they only show you their highs and they only come on there and they show you their perfect life. But it's like, what about the lows? And it's almost like you're not even able to relate to people that only show you the highs because you feel inferior to them. So it kind of challenged me to kind of be more vulnerable and transparent and share different things about myself or about the difficulties that it takes to be able to create something like this. You know what I mean? So I thank you for that. That was a gift from God.
And even being on a platform, you know, we were going over like just being on a platform, you know, many people, they have expectations for you. You know, and if you don't meet those expectations, you're doing something wrong. And it's like often leaders and people with, you know, their faces on platforms forget that they're real too, and God cares too about, you know, the leaders and the people that are called to be in the front, you know, or mix it up in the crowd. But everybody has all of this pressure on them, and God wants to release you from it, but he can't release you from it if you're performing. You know,
come on with the word.
You know, so it's just like, God always cares about our heart. And the moment we get distracted by all that outside stuff, he can't do the work inside to produce something different. You know, that's more of him that nobody else can take away, you know? So it's just, Are
y'all seeing what I'm talking about yet? Are y'all seeing the transformation? Like, it's just so beautiful. It's so real and it's so true. So I love getting her perspective on stuff. But I wanted to ask you, man, let's shift gears really fast. I wanted to ask you where your discovery from art came from to be doing the Hannah, like, lift it up, let the people see again. Like, like, that's some artistic little vibes. Where did that come from? And just other artistry things too that you do.
So originally I had like this thing of like, I wanted to be a fashion designer when I was little. And I would have like the little templates and everything. And I think over the years, you know, like life kind of happens and like, you know, I didn't make time for stuff like this. You know, for me to like notice like, oh, I do like still like drawing and things like that.
That's
Hannah just really just gave me that itch out, you know, like that craving I was looking for. And I was just like, Also, I want a tattoo, but I don't like needles. So
come on.
I get to, you know, explore, you know, think about, okay, maybe this might look nice here. And, you know, it's temporary. So it's just like, I can switch it up whenever I want, and I'm very flexible, and I don't always stay the same. So this really worked out. But
do you feel like it's helped you, like almost therapeutic?
It has.
Yeah.
It has.
In how many ways, or in what ways would you say?
I get to focus my mind on the daily. Especially in the past, I used to be super anxious, and I'm not saying I'm not still super anxious. I still have my moments, and you know, God's really working with me through that. But it helped me to like really focus on what I was doing, where I had to clear out everything and just like, all right, like, I'm not gonna lie, there were some times in the beginning, if I was doing it on somebody else, I would be like, all right, Emonie, don't mess this up,
especially when you get paid, it's your profession, so you gotta be serious.
Like, but it just became something I really enjoyed, and it kind of relieved a lot of the stress that I would be feeling throughout the day. So
that, and a lot of people who are artists, like I know people who sing, dance, rap, they do a lot of the artistry out of just feeling overwhelmed. It's almost like an escape for them. Do you feel like it's an escape? To just of the world, like leave the world alone and just get into your artistry. So what about like your goals and aspirations? Is that like what you want to do eventually full time? Like where do you see yourself in the future?
So where do I see myself in the future? I see myself, I always told myself like, I didn't know what I was going to do about the money part. But my biggest thing was I want to be the owner of 3 nonprofits. 3 nonprofits. So one of them was going to be, is going to be.
That's right. Speak it.
It's going to be you know, like a creative center. So it's going to be a place where whether you do music, whether you do dance, whether, you know, you're just art in general, it's just like you have a place to go. And it's a judgment-free zone. It's like filled with like the staff that like really want to pour into the people that walk in. Like I see graffitis on the wall and everything like that, and that fulfills me. Like that gets me excited, you know. And then the other 2 are for the homeless, whether that's on street mission, which one of them is Emonie's Light of Hope Homeless Ministry. And then the other one is going to be called A Second Chance. And so we're going to have a building and basically providing stuff like, you know, volunteers, creating business outfits and getting donations that way. and, you know, giving lockers, giving cell phones, like
Yeah.
the whole shebang, and like I'm excited for it. But that was always my, you know,
Your
ultimate goal, and I was like, all right, so we're gonna do about everything else, God, you know?
How are we going to get to that?
Yeah.
So, but I wanted to put her on blast because I'm holding her accountable to that. So y'all see this now, and we're going to look back on this. Like, this is season 1. We're going to look back, and we're going to see how she accomplished it. And I'm going to make sure of it. And that's not the only thing she's going to be doing. She's going to be speaking on stages. She's going to be going around the world. She's going to be influencing all the young women, all the young men in a phenomenal way. That's where her future is going. So stay tuned to that. You know what I mean? And I love that so much that I get to just be a part of the journey of the beginning stages. Like, this is fire to me. This is what I live for, to see people go through the transformation. You know what I mean? So I love that that's your ultimate goal and aspiration. So I wanted to talk about some of the things, because as you know, you see us, and you know what I mean, we might look like we have it together, we're ambitious, you know what I mean, we're children of God, but what are some of the struggles in even getting to this place where you have the confidence to dream? And I get asked this a lot, but what are some of the things you can say, like your insecurities and the things you have to face to even get to a place to dream?
Where do I even start?
Facts. Come on, like let's get into it. Yeah, it's real though.
Yeah,
people don't think so. Yeah,
it is, and it's not that simple. Sometimes, like, God will place things in you, and you'll question it. You'll question it. Even when you start going forward, you start questioning. Okay, God, like, is this really what I'm supposed to be doing? Is this really for me? Like, and one thing that I really struggled with was, I remember I found myself praying, God, like, why am I not passionate about something? Like, I know what I want to do, like, for example, the nonprofits.
Yeah.
But why every time I start some things, why can't I finish? And I wasn't carrying God through the suffering part. And to be passionate means you're gonna be going through some suffering, and you know that. And I would always fall. Like, not fall, God would catch me, but like, I would always, kind of drift back into like my old ways. There's so much into my mind, and not really trusting Him through the process. And He had to tackle a lot of things in me, whether that was confidence, whether that was, but it first started 2 years ago where the pandemic hit. And I couldn't be busy anymore. I couldn't distract myself with volunteering, working, school, or any of that, and I just had to stay home. And I had to deal with myself. And I didn't know how to do that, because my own opinions for myself were not very great.
Come on, though, be honest. I love it.
It was not very great, as in, like, I wasn't naturally like a confident person. I'm still working on my confidence to this day.
Everybody.
Where I gotta be like, okay, guys, like, let's do this.
Yeah, for sure.
But so again, 2 years ago, and God really like sat me down, and He showed me all of these things, while I'm in that quiet space, because when you're by yourself, you're confronting yourself. Like, you're like in your own stuff, you're in your own junk, sometimes. And it's like, even that can be overwhelming, because when God starts pouring in, I started seeing, paying attention to like, wow, it's like really people pleasing today. Like, I don't really go outside so much, but I didn't like the way this feels, because I've kind of enjoyed my space alone, so the more I got to, go out and do things, I was no longer fronting anymore. It was like, all right, kind of thing.
No, I know what you're saying. And I think that people don't realize that, like, for instance, on the outside appearance, people might think like, I get told all the time, you're handsome, you're handsome. You probably get told you're beautiful, right? But people don't realize that you still deal with insecurities, and that even being what the society would call attractive comes with a different pressure that certain people don't have to deal with. Like, I know we talk about that all the time because our families are just beautiful, and we have people that the world would consider beautiful, because everybody's beautiful, you know what I mean? But it's crazy that people will look at you and be like, what do you got to be insecure about? You know what I mean? Like, your hair is long, or y'all are light skinned, like, y'all are cool. Like, especially growing up in like the Black society. And I think there is a problem with mental health and just being like a darker complexion. You know what I mean? So I always like to shine my light and lift up all my brown skinned queens, all my dark skinned queens. You know what I mean? Everybody else, I like to pour life into them. But what are some of the insecurities that you deal with as far as being somebody that society would call like a pretty girl, pretty light-skinned girl at that?
I will never forget, there was think twice where grown men
Come on.
told me, well, you know, you can't use your looks for everything. And I found that offensive. And there was times where I really wished that, like, even though I really couldn't see it so much, like, you know, how beautiful I am.
Yep.
But it was like, I really was like, God, like, I wish I wasn't pretty, you know, like, 'cause that's all people look at. And I'm just like, you know, did you not know all the things I'm battling in the inside? Like, you keep looking out here, and I'm like focusing on in here. And so hearing that really did something to me over, like, and it could have boosted my confidence if I was, you know, kind of like that in the head.
Yeah, if your mindset was on that, but it was something else.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think, like, even like past relationships that I had, or even friends, family members, where they're like pretty on the outside, gorgeous, it's like sometimes when your inside is so messed up, it's like, I always say it's your fault because you have the power to change it. But sometimes society puts that on you too. They tell you like, oh, you're pretty, you get a pass or whatever, like, you know what I mean? And they pass you along through life based off your looks, and you're not able to really develop no substance. What would you tell a pretty girl who's out here thinking that like her looks is everything and she can always, you know what I mean, get past in life off her looks like dude told you? What would you tell her as far as encouraging her to work on the inside of herself?
In the insides, it's going to be the thing that you pass on for generations.
Come on.
It's going to be the thing that carries you day by day. Like when you're old and you're wrinkly, like working, you know, in the place that I'm working in now, it's like I try to dress them up and they don't care, you know, and it's just like, but so those things fade, and you have to always remember, like, you know, especially like, you're a woman of God and you're like chasing after, he's looking at in here, we can get all this satisfied, you know, like we can get all this, you know, worked out and everything, but if we're not exercising what's in here, and if we're not growing in here, then it's just like all of that is, again, false advertisement, you know.
Oh, I love that.
It's false advertisement, you know,
and
because
pointless.
And it's kind of how we talk about, you know, like money. We don't die and go to heaven with money, you know, kind of thing. But it's just like, you know, it's just, you know, but like, embrace your beauty, embrace it, like, love yourself, like, God loves, he created you exactly the way you're looking, and everything, and just truly embrace that, but don't forget what's really, like, what is it coming out of, you know, why am I putting on makeup, like, do you still see yourself as beautiful when you don't have it on? You can put it on, you can rock it, and you can have it on,
but what about when you don't?
When you don't have it on, have the same confidence, you know,
still
stand
beautiful,
tall in that, you know, because in the end, it's the things in the inside is really going to be what carries you and what, you know, grows you and all that.
Yeah, that was perfectly said, and I think a lot of that goes for people too who you might not think you're beautiful. That's like, it goes both ways. Think about the inside, grow that, you know what I mean? Because truthfully, you are beautiful, and a lot of the times the beauty from the inside will shine on the outside, and you'll be surprised that, you know what I mean, how people are just attracted to you. Truly, God's light in you is what they're attracted to. But I want to also talk about, man, social media, because I know, like, to keep it real, social media with Emonie, that was a little like, you be on social media and it has its effects over you, like mentally, but you have learned and you're working towards processing that and handling it, just like so many other people. How do you handle social media and those pressures? So, keeping it stacked too, like, you can be real,
Oh, of course.
Always.
Of course. In those kind of ways, like, you know, whether I want to put the filter on, I want to put the filter on.
Come on,
but, you know,
come on, filter.
But it's just like, if, you know, in general, like, again, I'm learning how to, like, embrace my beauty and, like, really, like, accept it and, like, you know, just whatever. But also, I've kind of used it to my advantage now, of where I could post a nice picture, but I really want y'all to see the caption.
Come on, you know,
the
captions.
depth of the caption.
You
know, so if I gotta lure you with my smile, I'm gonna do it, because I'm gonna point you back to God in my caption.
That's right.
You know, because it's just like, I'm learning how to use social media to my advantage, you know, for God, you know, instead of myself. You know, like, I even do that in friendships too. Like, a lot of my friends are on there, and I'm just like, well, here's all the stuff I see on my feed.
Yep.
You know, but what about the things that are actually going to feed us? You know, like I remember there was a time where I consistently be on social media.
Yep.
And I would always like scroll and scroll and scroll and just
all
like
of us
consume.
Yeah.
And it was more so of like, what am I feeding myself anymore? Wow. You know, like what am I like, you know, and it started messing with my image, started messing with my, you know, well, maybe if I pose like this, or maybe if I do some more body pictures, maybe if I do this. It kind of, it
the
always
comparisons.
took me, the comparisons is definitely big, where I couldn't, you know, be comfortable where I was in life, you know, whether it was school, whether it was a job, finances, whether just anything. Like, even my image, you know, I see girls with big, you know, curly hair like me, and I just feel like, well, mine's not that healthy.
See?
You know?
And that's what's crazy.
You
like,
know?
People be thinking because, you know, you're in a certain place or you look a certain way that you don't deal with it. It's like the comparison is for everybody. The devil will use anybody to make you feel like they're better than you.
Right.
You know what I mean? There's always somebody that looks better, has more, they look more successful on social media. And you have to use your platform, like you said, to basically educate, you know what I mean, and to feed other people good things. That's why my social media is nothing but positive stuff. Like when you come to my page, you're going to be fed. You feel me? Monty's page, she's always dropping gems all the time. So I feel like it's just important you use social media as a platform to distribute light. You know what I mean? Because there's so much darkness. But I also wanted to say, God, you want to say something?
Because it'll have you wanting to change something about yourself before you even learn how to love that part of you. You know, like.
Come on, man. Yes.
Dream of a lifestyle, which is, yes, great, but have you come into acceptance of what is present, what's now, and what's needed to get there, you know, and if you even really want that at the end of the day.
If you even want it. Because you're comparing yourself with somebody who doesn't even, you don't even want what they want, or you're not willing to do what they did to get there. A lot of people don't want to put in that work, but they want those rewards.
Right.
And that's just not how the world works. But I wanted to ask you about healthcare, man, because you take care of the old people. Monty's always being a blessing, taking care of the old people. And, you know, I worked in the healthcare profession for a while as an observational specialist. So I've seen the dynamics of a hospital. How do you feel like COVID affected that?
COVID, definitely, like, in just even seeing a lot of the residents, a lot of the people that are, you know, with me every day.
Yeah.
You know, it sucks to hear that, like, you know, and it's just like crazy because it's like COVID really did do something big to nursing homes where they can't see their families because they are at risk, like top priority, like at risk. Yeah. You know, and they can't see their families. They can't go outside when they want to go outside. They can't go shopping when they want to go shopping. It's like so much of their rights, you know, are still there, but the freedom, like, and physically, like, doing what they love that, you know, might not even, like, cost a thing to go outside and just to, like, hang around other, you know, like, other residents, you know, in the building and just talk, and, like, they don't have that so much. So it's, like, you know, to be able to, I think one of the biggest things was, like, I'm a part of their everyday life.
Yeah.
I help make up what their life looks like right now. You know, when lockdown is over and everything, they can go back out with their families, but what can I do to help make their lives better right now so they can enjoy it right now? We don't know when they're gonna, you know, go on, you know, but it's just like, it kind of took this more, like, I don't know how to, like, really describe it, but it kind of gave me a place of authority to do something. Yeah. You know, like, you know, just thinking of them, like, they're all God's children.
That's
you know, like, what am I doing here just to think that this is just a job that I walk in and out of?
That's
and this is their life.
There's purpose behind it.
What atmosphere can I set for them that they can enjoy it? Like, we played Uno all day today. And, you know, like...
Oh, yeah. Shout out to your job, man. Shout out to her for coming because she worked today. We're shooting the show a little later in the day, and that was a blessing. And one thing that I was thinking when I pointed to the freedom is that we take our freedoms for granted. Like, there's certain people who are under, like, this martial law thing where, like, besides jail, like, even, like, a healthcare facility where it's, like, you have to listen to them. And it is kind of for their own safety. But it's just, like, we take our freedoms for granted. Yeah. Like, how many times are we just not caring about the older people or caring about things that really God is blessing us with and how we're using our freedom? And you use yours in a way where it gives to other people. You give back. You go into the nursing home. You create an atmosphere that enhances the people's life before they die. that's a big reward. Like, I worked at hospice, and they used to call me the gatekeeper because I would pray with people, and then they would end up dying, but I felt secure knowing that they were going to heaven.
Right.
And you kind of get to have that job too. So we got, see, it's like God's always stirring something up and working something out. And that's just beautiful how you're doing that. Something else I wanted to talk about was like childhood traumas and how you see them play out in your life now.
So childhood traumas. So sorry, was I supposed to stop?
No, you're good.
Okay.
They're actually, if y'all are wondering why we're laughing, because the team is pointing out like the time and how long, and I'm like, I see you, bro. Like, it's cool. And she's laughing like, okay, like, but y'all are just, you know, a little behind the scenes, little minute, but excuse us. But yeah, like, no, everybody that comes on the show, I always like to ask them, what are some of the childhood traumas you're working through? Because I'm working through a lot of mine.
Right.
And I found it therapeutic to be able to sit with my audience and sit with my guests and go through our childhood traumas together to be able to overcome them to find more freedom. You know what I mean?
A lot of the childhood traumas, honestly, like, one thing that I had to learn how to accept was it was nobody's fault in my case scenario, where I didn't have anyone to blame. So when God came, he came, but like, I just recently even learned how to let him know that I really wasn't okay with what happened, that I just learned how to deal with it for many years. And just live with it. So that was very new in my relationship with God, and that took years. But childhood trauma, like, you know, still learning a lot, especially with culture, where there's a lot of generational curses and chains that need to be broken within the culture that spread into my family. And that I didn't know, I had to realize like what I was battling against, like, you know, whether it was the changes of generations. Like, me and my mom are from two different, you know, generations and backgrounds and things, where she's from the Bronx, and, you know, growing up like poverty, and like, you know, my grandmother like being a very big AIDS advocate, and you know, just seeing so much in her lifetime, and moving from the Bronx to Butler, then from Butler to here, and like all those different changes. You know, sometimes we would butt heads a lot, but I had to realize what I was battling against, and it wasn't necessarily her, but it was her past. You know, it was all the things that she experienced in her life that she's still learning how to deal with. And one of the big things too, now that I'm thinking about it, even when I think about like my birth father, was there was a song, it's called Daddy by Jasmine Tate. And in this one verse, she says, life even happened to you. And when I first heard that song, I really realized that, like, wow, life even happened for my parents. It's not even just all about me and what I'm feeling, but life is literally happening for my parents. Like, they're still going through the motions. They're still learning. You know, because ultimately, like, we're all God's children. We're always going to keep learning, but it's to give each other grace for that, you know?
Man, like, what you're saying is so, like, reassuring to me, because I remember having a conversation with my dad when I was probably like 17, and I just said, you know, you're doing the best that you can do what's been given to you. Like, whoever raised you, however you was raised, you're just doing the best you can do what's been done, you know what I mean, for you. And I just released it and gave him the grace. Like, it's cool. Both of my parents, like, I just release you and forgive you for that. And to just hear how God is transforming all of us to be able to break those generational curses and realize even when we're parents, we'll do something wrong. Like, our kids will still be having to break through something else. But each time it gets better. And we all go from glory to glory to glory. And I love your mom so much. And I know she's crazy, so shout her out. I love you so much. She's going to see this, so we love you. Yeah, we love all love. But you know what I mean? It is challenging just facing your parents' childhood traumas and then realizing that they're humans. But before we close the show out, I always like to ask people, what are your words of wisdom? So I'm going to ask you that. But I wanted to say something because me and Emonie had a conversation recently, and she said something to me that I know as a life coach, but it just hit me differently whenever you said it, which was that we're battling people's past experiences. So it's like, and she just said it, I'm not even battling you. I'm battling all the experiences that make you up. You know what I mean? Like, everything that makes you you is everything you experience. Everything we talked about today is our experiences that kind of makes us. So when you're battling somebody in your family, or you're battling a spouse, a brother, a sister, mom or dad, you have to remember that you're not really battling them as their spirit, like themselves. You're battling all their experiences, everything that they went through. So they're just projecting onto you what they went through. And when you have that mentality, you can deal with people from a standpoint of a lot more grace, you know what I mean, and wisdom. But thank you for that gem. Dropped it on the people, you know what I mean? Drops mic, boom. But I wanted to, okay, so what is your words of wisdom? I always close the show out with like a mantra, something that you believe in, and then, you know, your words of wisdom.
Mm-hmm. So my words of wisdom for you guys is just forward is forward. No matter if you're walking, you're crawling, you're, you know, whatever it is forward. Even if it's like a little tiny step at a time.
Come on.
You know, it's still forward and it's still progress, and to trust that progress and to always look for God for each step. You know, whether it's, you know, you might not be like, all right, God, what's next? But just, all right, God, you have me. You know, just to even accept that he's there, you know, for every moment of it. And let that give you peace and security, and let that build in a confidence for you that he's in control even when you can't see it. So forward is forward, and you're going to get to where you're going to need to go. So it's not over until God says it's over, and you woke up today, and that's enough.
That's right. It's not over until it's over.
Well.
All is well. Forward
well.
is forward. Like, and I like to call it like laying a brick. Like every day you're just laying a brick and you're building this castle that belongs to you and God. And it's just like move forward, whether it's a brick, whether it's the little concrete you put in between, whether it's just gathering the brick for the day. Whatever grace that God gives you, just utilize that. Don't beat yourself up. Like, we're all on a journey together. And man, I want to thank y'all, because little secret is I'm closing the season out right now. So Emonie is the last guest of the season of season 1. Let's go. I'm so excited. Like, this is what I'm saying. Like, I fought in the spirit to make sure she was here. And man, I'm so excited for season 1, but I'm more excited for season 2, because season 2, we're going to be dropping so many more gems, so many more live performances, so many more like entrepreneurs and business owners. And I've grown so much during this season, and I know y'all have grown with me. So I love y'all so much. And y'all better remember, what is my mantra? Y'all better remember, it's time, find freedom. It's time, find God. Let's go. Let's go. We love y'all, and we'll see y'all in season 2. Peace. The Freedom Experience.